Welcome to the third episode of Football Manager 26 with Colne FC. Now, we're going to start the episode with the Club Vision meeting. And for this season, they want to work within the wage budget. They want to play attacking football, possession football, entertaining football, and high tempo pressing football. And if we have a look at the 5-year plan, it is simply look to build on promotion to the Enterprise North-South. So this means we've come from the very bones of the football pyramid and we're about to start reaching the actual leagues everybody's heard about. I'll have a quick look between the different years, see if there's anything different. And it doesn't look like there is, so we're going to go ahead and confirm it because we don't really have an option otherwise. And then if we have a look at the recruitment budgets for this year round, it's looking very healthy compared to where it used to be. Now, the transfer budget, as you can see here, is £393,000, which is far more than what we've ever had previously. And the wage budget that we've got available is £1,900 per week, and we're currently spending just over 3,000. We don't currently yet have our scouting budget, but if we even don't get any, we can easily transfer some of the transfer. If you look at our scouting budget, we're actually in the negative, but if we need to, we can swap some from the transfer and we can put it into the scouting. The level that we're now about to start playing makes me think we might need some upgrades to our players. So scouting's going to be pivotal in scouting the leagues around us. Talking of staff, the main team, it looks like we've got a couple of vacancies. We've got a coach vacancy. We've got a performance analyst vacancy. So we'll see what we can do about that. And then when we look at our under 18s, they're actually full. They still have the staff that we put in from last season. So as with the rest of the seasons, I'll play this until we can start getting some results in, and I'll be in touch with where we've ended up. I'll show you who we've got, what our current finances look like, and anything more to note. Now, we've just come across the following message. The board have announced plans to build new seats and standing areas at the ground to raise the total capacity by another 1,000 at Holt House. The planned work, costing an estimated £750,000, has to be carried out in order to comply with the league requirements. Additional funding for the project has been secured with a £375,000 grant from the authorities. It is expected that these works will take around 10 months to complete, so this should see us finish about mid-March. While this development is undertaken, the club will ground share with Accrington Stanley at the WAM Stadium. Now, this is something we've been trying to do in a couple of the leagues below us, was ask for an expanded stadium, and now the game is forcing us into it. Now, welcome to the world of tax again. The club's facing a tax bill of around £110,000 over the upcoming financial year based on the financial records of the previous 12 months. The estimate is based on the club's taxable profits over the past year being approximately £455,000. Excellent, just what we need. And then the next message that we've got on here is the change to the stadium ticket prices. So, following the club's promotion to the regional Premier Divisions from the Northern Premier League Division 1 West, ticket prices have gone up. The average ticket and season ticket prices will be increased by 20% to £12 and £132 respectively. These changes are projected to result in a drop of 86% to the club's yearly earnings. Now, the strange thing about this is that we're at the WAM Stadium now, which can hold more, but increasing the prices is going to have an 86% drop of yearly earnings. That seems a little bit wrong to me. I'd actually expect them to go up slightly. And then straight away, just after that, we've now got our scouting budget. So this seems like a pretty standard scouting budget, if I'm honest, from the previous leagues. And the message purely says that we've got an allocated budget of £20,000 for the forthcoming season. And it also says that they won't allow the scouting of any nations. So what we're going to do is we're going to change some of the transfer budget into the scouting so then we can actually scout some of the leagues. I get the board not wanting to allow us initially with the 20,000, and that's purely because that won't be enough for the season. So we'll top this up with some of the money that we do have. Okay, so we've just come across the season expectations now where we can adjust the proposal to the board of where we're going to get, and in return for some more money. So we can't do anything in regards to the league that we're in. We can't do anything in regards to the FA Cup. However, on the Isuzu FA Trophy this time round, it starts at the third qualifying round. Now, I think we're better than this. And each time that we actually change, we get a different transfer budget and a different wage budget. And considering where we've been for the last few seasons, if not winning it, which seems to be the case for the last two, I think the fourth round's more than fine. As it says there, the last season we got to the final. So why not? Why try and undersell ourselves? We're going to confirm that. And then we've also had this message too, saying that the board want to hold a meeting with us regarding the training facilities. They have the funds available and want to ensure that this is what we want. Well, of course, we want the training facilities to be fantastic. We want to improve the players with the coaching staff, and having the facilities to do that would help. So we're absolutely going to attend this meeting, and we're actually going to say we like the idea. Because you can see it says basic training. Now, we do need to try and work on the youth and the adequate in time too. But for this, we're going to agree. Okay, so taking a look then on where we are, roughly around halfway, 2/3 of the way through the season. Now, we've currently played 29 games, and there's 40 to play in total. Where are we then? Well, currently we're sitting second. Now, we're sitting behind Bury by 1 point, and we've got a game in hand. Now, so do Warrington below us, and they're 3 points behind. You can see it's a little bit tighter than what it has been previously. Where are we in terms of goals? Well, we've scored 55 and conceded 24. We've currently got a strong-ish goal difference, but Warrington Town below us are scoring a heck of a lot. Actually more than anybody else in the league. So that's something we need to keep our eye on. And then when we have a look at the season overall so far, well, the friendlies at the first part of the season, it was kind of a mixed bag. Out of the 8 friendlies that we've got there, we won 4, we lost 4. The biggest one really being Huddersfield Town that we actually won, losing narrowly against Bristol City, before then turning our attention to the Northern Premier League Premier Division. Now, our first month, things were okay in fairness. 4 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. September, we picked it up a little bit more with 7 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. And the draw coming in the FA Cup qualifying round. And then we obviously won the replay thereafter. We then in September played Radcliffe in the 3rd qualifying round and started against Blythe Town in the Isuzu Trophy. October was a very good month indeed. We won all of our games in that, with a 2-0 win against Scunthorpe in the first FA Cup round, and then a 1-0 against Mikolova in the FA Trophy. November wasn't too bad again, 4 wins, 2 draws, playing again in the FA Trophy against Macclesfield in the 2nd round. Then in December, again, not a bad month at all. We've got 5 wins, 2 draws. We then played in the 2nd round of the FA Cup against Carlisle, and we played Buxton in the 3rd round of the FA Trophy. And this is then where things surprised me a little bit. We actually beat Accrington Stanley 2-2 on penalties in the FA Trophy. We then beat Oxford United straight after in the 3rd round of the FA Cup, before then playing a league game and then the 5th round of the FA Trophy. And as you can see, we've got a big team coming up in February in the Cup. Now, this is where I think we'll end up bowing out altogether. And this is against Ipswich Town in the 4th round of the FA Cup. We've then got Scarborough in the FA Trophy. Taking attention then to our finances. Well, currently within the season, we're actually playing at the WAM Stadium, which isn't our home ground being Holt House. And this is because our home ground is actually having an expansion and it needs some works to fit the league rules. Currently our balance is 189,544. Now you can see the income there is 230 with an expense of 75. Our wage budget, we're currently spending 9.5 per week, and we've actually got 10.5 per week. And then when we look at our actual budgets to see where we are, well, we've got 38,000 in the transfer budget and £1,000 available in the wage budget. Scouting, we've actually overspent at this point. And if we have a look a little bit more on the income breakdown to see where some of that 230 came from, you can see 51,000 came from the gate receipts at the start. And then see we got 21,000 in players that we sold. Then we had 17,000 in match day income. And then going back to the current board requests and where we are, well, they're expecting the stadium to be completed in a month, so we should be able to go back to our home ground. We actually improved the training facilities, and I tried to then ask the club to see if they'd improve the youth, whether they'd give us a professional status, and whether they'd actually send us on a coaching course. Now, our manager is very, very Sunday League. We still don't have a single qualification yet, and the club seem reluctant to give us one. And then when we look at some of the transfers, now it says we've got 13 players in, and we've had 4 players out. Now you can see from some of the players that we've actually got in, a lot of them have a decent number of appearances. So this is purely now at the point of replacing those that got us to where we are. We've got True Grant, which is a 23-year-old keeper, and he's a 4-star potential. And True Grant actually came from the Man City academies before being loaned out. He moved on a free, was then loaned out, and then he came to us on a free. And then we've got Rio Patterson Powell, who's a right winger, and he's a 4-star. Where did he come from? Well, he came from the Middlesbrough Academy, or being loaned out a couple of times, and now he's with us. And then we've got Caden Wilson, who's also a 4-star potential, who plays as a centre-back. And Caden came from Chelsea, or then being sent to Stoke on a free, to Rochdale on a free, and then to ourselves on a free. And then we've got Bastian Caramel. Now, he's actually on loan with us at the minute from SC Bastia. And he's actually got a potential 5-star, and he's only 18 and plays as a left-back. Welcome to the end of the season. So, how did we end up doing? Well, you can see straight away from the competitions, we didn't win the FA Cup. Pretty standard for where we are. The Isuzu FA Trophy, we won the trophy. Not bad. Then when we look at where we finished in the league, well, we won the league. But what has to be said is that we were actually taken until the last 2 games to decide who was going to win. And actually at that moment in time, it was against ourselves and Bury. And you can see Bury have been promoted after going through the playoffs. And relegated, we've got Morpeth Town, Workington, Bishop Auckland and Redcar Athletic. How do we do then in terms of the overall games and how many did we win? Well, we played 40, we won 28, we drew 8, we lost 4. We didn't score as much as Warrington, but we conceded less than Warrington and everybody else in the league, which would have helped us even if Warrington had won another 2 games. And then when we have a look at the fixtures themselves, well, where did we get to? Who did we play in the Cups and who knocked us out of the FA Cup? Well, going through November, we played Macclesfield in the FA Trophy. We won that. In December, we played Carlisle United away in the second round of the FA Cup, and we won that 2-0. We played Buxton at home, or at the Wham Stadium. It was 4-0 in the third round. Then we actually ended up playing one of our local teams with a much bigger reputation in Accrington Stanley, and we won that on penalties away in the 4th round. Then we played Oxford United in the 3rd round of the FA Cup and beat them 2-1 at home, before moving on to the FA Trophy 5th round against AFC Fylde, and we won 3-0. Again, there's a lot of green in here. And then in February, well, it was actually Ipswich Town that knocked us out of the Cup. Now, I can't say I'm surprised because they're multiple leagues above us. They ended up 5th so far in the league. And you can see on there that they're actually within the playoffs. And the playoff final thereafter will be Coventry and Ipswich, with Fulham promoted as champions, Burnley narrowly missing out just on 1 goal difference, same points, and Blackburn Rovers, Swansea and Wrexham were relegated. So let's have a look then at the finances. Well, we've got 451,000, and because we've now got our new budgets for the next season, this is why it looks like we've got 14,000 a week available. And I've already done some movements on the budgets. We've moved it from the transfer into scouting. Obviously, we can always move that back if needed. And we've got 5,000 available per week on the wage. So we could also amend the wage budget if we need to too, which might free a little bit more up for transfers. When we look at our debts and loans, we've actually got a £377,000 debt. I believe this was down to the stadium upgrades needed at Holt House. And it was actually given a 10-year loan. So this isn't due to be fully paid until 2038. So given that's another season over, I'll be back in the next episode where we'll be starting to climb the normal football pyramid as far as everybody knows. This will be in the Enterprise North-South. Exciting times ahead. I've been on BenUnlocked. If you like what you see, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.